Welcome back to Yoga with Krysta. My name is Krysta French, and today I'll be your yoga teacher. Today's class is a 20-minute midday Vinyasa yoga class. This is an energizing pick-me-up class for when you are short on time, but you want to have a full body experience. So when you're ready, come join me on the mat. So we'll get started at the top of our mat, taking the palms to touch, allowing your eyes to close, beginning to focus your awareness on the breath. Notice how the breath is moving in your body. See if you can slow it down, smooth it out a little bit. Just releasing anything that might not serve you right now. And then start to set an intention for your practice today. And just repeat it back to yourself. Doesn't have to be too complex. Anything is fine. Take a nice deep breath here. Full exhale. And then on your next inhale, we're going to reach the arms all the way up. Palms press up overhead, gazing up toward the thumbs. And then exhale, start to fold in half. Let it go. Inhale, find some length in the spine. And lower the hand, step it back to your plank pose. Keep the core strong. And then lower it all the way to the belly. Inhale, lift your chest open through the heart space. And exhale, press it on back, downward facing dog. Let your heels drop a little bit deeper. So we're just working through a few rounds of our sun salutations just to build some heat in the body. Nice, full, steady breathing. And then gaze comes forward. Step or float up to the front. Lengthen the spine, flat back. Exhale, fold for Uttanasana. Inhale, arms sweep high, palms press up overhead. Lower the hands down to the heart and to the sides. Inhale, reach up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, fold Uttanasana. Inhale, flat back. Hands plant, step or float back, Chaturanga. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha, upward facing. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. So always coming back to the breath. Notice if your mind is starting to become a little bit distracted. That's okay, just approach it without judgment. Notice the thoughts and then let them go. Come back to the breath. Staying present, gaze comes forward, step or float up, flat back, lengthen. Exhale, start to fold. Inhale, arms sweep, high palms press, and hands down to the heart and to the sides. Inhale, reach up, Urdhva Hastasana, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Lower the hand, step or float back to Chaturanga. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha, upward facing. And exhale, downward facing dog. So keep putting weight into the palms, the pads of the fingers and the knuckles, taking a little bit of weight out of the wrist. Heels can drop. And then gaze comes forward, step or float up. Try to keep the hips high. Exhale, fold over. Inhale, sweep it on up, palms press. And hands down through the heart. Go ahead and separate the feet inner hips width. Keep the right hand down at your hip. Lift the left arm high. Straighten the spine and then fold over toward the right side. So stretching all the way from the left fingertips down through your heel. Big side body stretch. Come back to center. Switch your arms. Inhale the right arm high and then tip over toward the left side. Full steady breathing. Stay strong in the spine. Come back to center. Hands come down at the low back. Lift your chest, lift the heart. Press your heart forward, press the hips forward, and tip the gaze back any amount. Come back to neutral. Hands at the hips, lift your chest. Exhale, we're folding. Grab hold of your big toes. Inhale, flat back. And exhale, fold over. So elbows wide, Padangustasana. Lower belly's pulling up and in. We're shifting a little bit of the weight forward into the balls of the feet, trying to get light in the heels a little bit. So big stretch in the hamstrings, maybe the legs straighten. Up to you. Keep breathing. Release the grip. Find your flat back. Just lengthen. And then separate the feet as you sink down for Malasana, your Yogi Squat. So hands can come together in front of the heart. Elbows plug into the inner thighs. Lift the chest. Open up. Nice big opening in the hips. And then plant your hands down. We're going to work right into our crow pose, Bakasana. So walk your feet back a little bit and then perch your knees up on the triceps. Gazing forward, start to shift the weight into the hands as you lift your feet off of the ground. Maybe the toes are pointing. If they are, toes together and then heels together. Keep breathing, squeeze the core, and then shoot it back and take your vinyasa. So you can always skip that. No worries. So coming back into down dog. Inhale, right leg lifts, and then step it up, right in between the hands, spin the back heel down, warrior one. So hip bones are squared forward, maybe those palms are pressing. If they are, see if you can look up toward the thumbs. And then hands come down through the heart. Begin to shift the weight into the right foot. Start to lift the back foot straight out behind you. Toes point down, heel points up. Flex your back foot as if there's a wall behind you that you're standing on. So warrior three. Steady breath. With control, step back. Open out for warrior two. So the hips are opening to the side. That front knee is pressing open. The back heel is pressing to the ground. And then you can drop the forearm down to the thigh or lower the right hand all the way to the floor for extended side angle pose. And then feel free to take that bind if it feels good in your body. So left hand comes around the low back, right hand comes under the thigh. And that's an option like everything else. You don't have to take it. Release the bind if you had it. Come back into extended side angle pose. Come all the way back to warrior two. Take a breath. And then revolve your warrior. Reach back through the right fingers. Big stretch in the side ribs. Cartwheel the hands down to frame the foot. And then lower the hand on the inside of your foot for lizard pose. You can kind of rock forward and back here, just opening the hips up. Eventually, you can lower the back knee down and then maybe even peel the big toe side of that right foot open, pressing the right thigh away. Rotating the ribs open. Big stretch in the hips and in the groin. You can stay right here if this is deep enough, or bend the left knee, reach around with that right hand and catch your back foot. So up to you. So nice steady breath. Getting into the quad. Release the grip and then slide the hips back just to lengthen that right leg, finding Ardha Hanumanasana, so our half splits. You can flex your foot or point your toes. You're going to get a different sensation depending on if you're flexing or pointing. And then put the weight back into that right foot, back into our lizard pose, and then step the right foot back for side plank. So stacking the feet, left foot is on the bottom, right foot's on top, right arm is stretching high. Steady breath, keep the hips lifted, keep that left hand down, and then lower the hand and take your vinyasa. So there's no rush to get back into your down dog. If you need child's pose, you can always pause the video and come back. So inhale, left leg lifts, step it up, warrior one, back heel down, arms reach high. Soften through the shoulders, lower belly draws up and in. Really root down through that back heel. Then hands together in front of your heart. Shift into that left leg. As you do that, right foot kicks straight out behind you. Toes point down, heel points up. Flex the back foot. Breathing deeply, steady breath. With control, bend the knees, step back, warrior two. So Virabhadrasana 2, shoulders right on top of the hips. And then we're coming right into our extended side angle pose. So you have the option of dropping the forearm or the hand all the way down. And then try to create that long straight line from fingertip down to heel. And then again, feel free to grab the hands behind you, taking the bind if that feels good. If it doesn't feel good, feel free to skip it. Nice steady breath. Release what you have back into extended side angle. Come back to warrior 2, take a breath. And then release and revolve your warrior. Right hand falls, left arm sweeps on back. Hands cartwheel to the inside of the foot for lizard pose. You can kind of shift forward and back, seeing how that feels. Getting open in the hips, and then eventually the back knee can lower down. You can turn the big toe side of that left foot open when you're ready. Maybe pressing the thigh away. For a little bit more, bend the back knee, grab hold of your foot, draw it a little bit closer towards you. One more breath. Release what you have, and then slide the hips back for half splits. Reach the chin down over toward the shin. Flexing or pointing the toes, whatever feels good. And then bending that left knee again back into lizard pose. Pressing the heart and the hips forward, keep the right hand steady as you stack the left foot over the right foot, side plank. Vashisthasana. Good, keep the hips high, keep that arm reaching, steady breath. And then release the hand down and lower chaturanga. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. How's the breath? One more breath here, and then gaze comes forward. We're stepping or floating the feet through, coming down onto the sits bones, and then eventually laying all the way down onto our back, setting up for bridge pose. So feet are planted down, knees are up, hands down next to the hips, and then start to peel your hips off the ground. You can start to wiggle the shoulders under one at a time, interlacing the fingers. Press the chest toward the chin, chin away from the chest. Keep the feet grounded. Really firing up those quads, firing up the entire leg muscles. And then lower all the way back down. So second round, you can do the same thing or go deeper for wheel pose. Hands up by the ears, if you're choosing wheel, and then equal weight in the hands and the feet. When you're ready, press all the way up, root to rise. Steady breath, keep grounding down to lift up. And then tuck your chin and lower all the way back down. Windshield wiper your knees, left, then right. Hug your knees into the chest, rock a little bit left and right. Massage the low back, massage the sacrum. And then hands under the knees. Take a few rocks all the way forward and back from the shoulder blades down to your tailbone to come all the way up into our seated pose, Pachima Tanasana. So folding over extended legs, reaching the chest down toward the feet. So really getting into the hamstrings here. And just find your breath. And then slowly lift your body up. We're going to open the legs out really wide for Uttanavishta Konasana. So trying to get the feet as wide as possible, getting them nice and comfortable though, and the toes are pointing up and the knees are pointing up. You can keep the hands behind you and kind of just tilt the pelvis forward, Or if you have the flexibility, go ahead and walk the hands down. You might come down to your forearms. You might lower all the way down onto the belly. So it depends on where you're at today in your body. And don't force it. Just notice what it is today. And just breathe into that space. Few more breaths. And then we'll come back up, close the feet together, send the knees around. You can give them a little shake. We're going to come right into our inversion practice. So I'm going to be taking headstand, but you can take any inversion that works for you. So for your tripod headstand, you can interlace your fingers, forearms are down, and then we're bending the knees, taking the feet up toward the butt, and then from that egg position, we're extending the legs all the way up toward the sky. So trying to aim for a completely straight line with the body. And keep in mind here that in our headstand, we're putting a lot of weight into the arms, into the forearms, and into the wrists and the elbows. So less weight in the head in our headstand. So keep breathing. Few more breaths, and then slowly come on down when you're ready. If you're coming from a headstand, make sure that you're taking a child's pose. If you're taking another inversion, you can take another counter stretch. So if you were in a shoulder stand, you can take a nice fish pose. It's a really good counter stretch for shoulder stand and plow. And then slowly start to peel your body back up. And then you can begin to just extend the legs long, give them a nice little shake, and then lower down to your back. Hug your knees in and drop them over to the right side. So finding a gentle spinal twist, the gaze can drop to the left. Let that left shoulder get heavy, opening up the entire spine. Just keep this spinal twist easy. So if you need to cross your knees or split the legs, go for it. And then the knees can come back to center. Let them drop all the way over to the left side, taking the gaze to the right. Full, steady breathing. And then knees come back to center. Give them a nice big hug, rocking side to side. And then when you're ready, you can take any final movements, any final postures before making your way down into Shavasana. So wherever you're landing in your Shavasana, whether it's a traditional one or not traditional, make sure that you're very comfortable. So our quote today comes from Sri Swami Satchidananda from the Yoga Sutras. And he says, "There's no value in digging shallow wells in 100 places. Decide on one place and dig deep. Even if you encounter a rock, use dynamite and keep going down. If you leave that to dig another well, all the first effort is wasted, and there is no proof you won't hit a rock again." So begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes, just bring more movement into the body. And then finding your way up into a comfortable, easy seat, sitting up nice and tall. You You can start to reconnect with that intention you set at the beginning of class. Whatever it was, just notice it. And then allow your hands to come together in front of your heart, thanking yourself for choosing to practice, for choosing to show up and to honor yourself. And thank you so much for sharing your own practice with me. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste. If you enjoyed this yoga video, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel so you'll never miss a free yoga class. And for full-length premium classes, you can check out KrystaFrench.com. I'll see you on the mat soon.